In this video, I'm going to show you the Payday routine that you should have in place if you want to become wealthy. Getting rich is not about getting lucky. It's about putting predictable systems in place that over long enough periods of time, you will pretty much be guaranteed to become wealthy. So I'm going to show you 5 simple steps that you should take when your paycheck lands in your account every single month. These are the same 5 steps that I've been able to use to build a 6-figure portfolio by the age of 26. So if you've been struggling to build your investment portfolio, save for long-term goals such as buying a house or buying a car, then this is a must-watch for you. Let's go ahead and jump into these 5 steps that you need to take when that paycheck lands in your account every single month. Step 1 is zero your account the night before. A good payday routine starts the night before. Personally, I like to go out there and zero out my account at the end of the month. Now, I do keep £1,000 in my current account just in case of emergencies and so that I never go overdrawn in that account. But that £1,000 in my head is zero. I think of that as being the limit that I can't cross or go under. That's my essential overdraft in a case of emergencies. Now, I do want to note that I do also have a proper emergency fund as well. That does not count as my emergency fund. If I do have money in my account that I didn't spend at the end of last month, I'll actually put that into investments, or I'll also sometimes just put it into my sinking funds, which I'm going to talk about later in this video. But I use that for holidays and stuff like that. So I'll maybe set money aside and get to my holiday goals a little bit quicker. Step 2 is checking your payslip and making sure that it's correct. 47% of employees will face payroll problems at some point or another. It's important to check each payslip to ensure that 1, the pay you've received in your bank account matches what's on your payslip, and 2, the payslip actually has the correct amount of pay on it. With pension contributions, tax codes, you've got student loan repayments coming out of this, you want to make sure that everything is correct there and you're not getting screwed in some way or another. It's good to just go over this and make sure everything is correct each month because mistakes do happen. These things go through HR and payroll and sometimes they just don't get it right. And if you don't catch it, they probably won't either, and that will just end up money going down the drain. So make sure that your payslip is correct each month. Step number 3 is to pay yourself first. And personally, I believe this is probably the most important point in this video and really the main point of this video. Paying yourself first means that you're setting money aside for your savings and investments before you go out there and do stuff like paying your bills, spending money on partying, clothes, and just your general wants. By doing this, you get a little bit wealthier each month. You also adapt to being able to live on the money you have remaining. Most people, they do the opposite of this. They go out there and say that they're going to save money at the end of the month. How many times have you told yourself that and then there's not a penny left at the end of the month? Well, humans, it's normal to go out there and just expand your spending to whatever is in your account. If you have £2,000 in your account after you've paid your bills, you'll probably start getting a little bit more extravagant with your spending. You'll start buying stuff that you don't really need that you probably wouldn't have purchased otherwise. However, if you artificially remove that money by putting it into your investments, saving for your future, and saving for long-term financial goals like holidays, weddings, houses, by doing that first, you artificially suppress the amount of money you have remaining at the end of the month. I recommend putting away about 20% per month of your take-home pay into investments. And then if you've any other savings goals, such as maybe buying a house, you might want to actually save for a house first, so that can be your 20%. But if you're doing stuff like buying a car, saving for a holiday, that should come out on top of your investments. So 20% to investments, and then you maybe have another 15% saving for these other things. And you actually want to pay yourself first before you even get your paycheck if you're employed. If you're employed, your employer probably offers you a workplace pension. And through that workplace pension, they will actually give you a contribution match. So whatever you contribute, they will match that up to a certain limit. Now, you probably want to go out there and maximize that up until the point where they will match you. So if they match up to 8%, you probably want to contribute 8% of your pay to that because it's a 100% guaranteed return from your company. You're not going to get that investment return anywhere else. And as you're contributing this money to your pension before tax comes out of your pay, you're actually going to pay less tax as well, which is always a nice bonus. So that money will go into your pension and that counts as your investments for retirement. So if you plan to invest 20% of your income, you could simply do that through your pension. Personally, I would go out there and do it up to the max contribution your company will give you. And then I would invest outside of my workplace pension. I would probably do it in an ISA or a SIP, depending on your personal circumstances. With a SIP, you're not going to be able to touch that money until you reach the legal retirement age, which could potentially change at any time. I would invest through an ISA, which allows you to invest your money and have tax-free gains. Any capital gains that you make and any dividends that you get from companies that you invest in, you don't have to pay any tax on them through your ISA up until the ISA limit, which is currently £20,000. So you can invest £20,000 per year and not pay any tax on those gains, which is huge, especially if you're going to let that money compound for a long period of time. So that's your investments covered, but you may also have savings that you want to put away. I use sinking funds to do this. Sinking funds are essentially just savings accounts that you can split up and put money into for larger saving goals in the future. So for example, I use Revolut for this. Revolut allows you to have a savings account, but then you can split that saving account into sub accounts. And in there, I have stuff like holidays, cars, you might have a wedding in there, whatever it is, or a house payment. These sinking funds are usually for large purchases that you plan to make in the future. And by using sinking funds, it allows you to put money away each month into a separate account. And I would consider that money spent when you put it into the savings account. I just pretend I don't have that money anymore, so that when it comes to actually purchasing the item, I just go ahead, I buy it with the money in the sinking fund that has been allocated to that item, and I don't feel guilty buying it, and I can just go ahead and purchase it. And I don't ever have to put anything on a credit card because I save for it in the months in advance instead of paying for it the months after I bought it plus interest. So when you get paid, you want to go ahead, and that's the first two places you should put your money: into your investments and into your savings for the purchases you plan to make in the future. Step number 4 is paying all of your bills. So now you've got your paycheck. I like to schedule my bills where possible. Obviously, some of them it's a little bit complicated. It's hard to change things, but with most bills, you can schedule the date you want them to come out. I do this so that most of my bills come out in around the 1st to the 4th of the month. And by the 4th of the month, every month, I pretty much know how much money I've got remaining for the end of the month. And I've put my investments away. I've now paid all my bills by the 4th of the month. And now I know that everything in my current account is money I can spend guilt-free. Obviously, some of that's going to go towards, general expenses such as food. It's going to go towards transport, petrol for the car, stuff like that. But the rest of it can really be spent on anything: clothes, entertainment, whatever I want. And I can spend that money freely without any guilt, without any, I'm not putting money away for my investments and I'm going to spend this and then feel bad about it. It's simply money I could just go out and spend on anything that I want. It's made spending and managing my finances just so much easier by doing it this way. Step number 5 is to budget your remaining spending. So if you find that you still then go out and spend too much money at the start of the month versus the end of the month, you might want to actually budget that remaining money you've got left over after you've paid your bills. So I would recommend maybe checking out our free budgeting spreadsheet, which you can see on the screen right now. It allows you to categorize all of your expenses and plan your month in advance so you know where you're planning to spend your money on. Entertainment, maybe you want to spend some money on clothes this month, you want to plan for a holiday, whatever it is, you can plan for it in that budget. As well as the budgeting cheat sheet, I actually like to use a Revolut account for this. So I'll send money from my main current account, my pretty much remaining money that I have at the end of the month. I'll send that over to a Revolut account, and I use Revolut for my daily spending, for going out there and making general purchases, going to the shop, buying clothes, going out on a night out, whatever it is. I'll use Revolut for that because Revolut makes it really easy to track my spending and see exactly where my money's going. If you do want to get a Revolut account, I'll leave a link down below in the description. I will get a little bonus if you sign up, and I think you might as well. And that's pretty much it. That is the 5 simple steps that you should follow on Payday if you want to eventually become wealthy. If you put this system in place over time, every single month, you're going to get a little bit richer. Now, there's going to be some months where if you're investing, your stocks may go down, but that's fine. You can buy that dip and buy a little bit cheaper. But overall, every month, you're putting money away. You're getting a little bit wealthier. You're actually working and you're building up something. You're building up a little bit of wealth. And that is huge for your financial future. If you enjoyed this video, make sure and smash that thumbs up button. Hit subscribe if you're new here. If you do want to go ahead and watch another video on the channel, I'd recommend checking out this one where I shared everything I learned building a 6-figure portfolio by the age of 26.